Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. May I at this stage request that we rise as we welcome the Deputy President of the Republic, Mr. Mashatile and Mrs. Mashatile. Please be seated.
South Africa ikenza ngofu mitiro ya wena ya bula bula. Today South Africa is a better place for you and me. Halala South Africa ikenza ngofu mitiro ya wena ya bula bula. Today South Africa is a better place for you and me. Nowadays we have free education, free scholar transport, free the social rights and the dignity as human beings. Nowadays we have freedom and equality, fundamental human rights. That's why we are celebrating 30 years of democracy. We are building up the nation. We are building South Africa. We are leaving no one behind. We are building South Africa. We are building up the nation. We are building South Africa. We are leaving no one behind. We are building South Africa.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, may I request that we stand as we welcome the President of the Republic and the Chancellor. We shall remain standing for the singing of the national anthem.
Sikeleli Afrika maluphakanyisu phondoloyo ivo imithandazo yethu Nkosi sikelela thina Sapolayo Murena Buluka Sichabasa Esu Ufedi Sedintwali Matswenye Usibuluke Usibuluke Sichabasa Chabasa, South Africa, South Africa, et die blauw van ons hemel, et die diepte van ons ziel, oor onze for the cross and our forget. So the call to come together and united we shall stand. Let us sing and strive for freedom in South Africa.
You may be seated. Mr. President, the Deputy President, Cabinet Ministers and Deputy Ministers, honored guests, we gathered here on the invitation of His Excellency the President as we celebrate 30 years of democracy. We will honor the individuals, the citizens, who have made a contribution to change the lives of others. It is that moment today that I hereby invite, as I do, His Excellency to commence with the ceremony. Your Excellency.
Program Director, Minister Zizi, good enough, Kotwa. He is good enough. Deputy President Paul Mashatile, and my dear sister, Mayor Mashatile, ministers and deputy ministers here present, members of Parliament, and Chancellor of the National Orders, Ms. Pindile Baleni, members of the Advisory Council on National Orders, members of the Diplomatic Corps, recipients here present of the National Orders together with their families, family members, and friends and fellow South Africans. It is my honor and privilege to present the recipients of this year's National Orders. National Orders are the highest accolade bestowed by a country on the men and women, citizens and non-citizens who have played an invaluable role in building our nation. 2 days ago, we had the privilege on the 27th of April, 2024, to celebrate our Freedom Day. The democratic breakthrough that we achieved 30 years ago enabled South Africans of all races to cast their vote, all of us casting our votes for the very first time to build a new nation. And thus, we began that process as a new South African nation to build this nation from the ashes of apartheid. This year marks the year that we attained our freedom 30 years ago. This would not have been possible without the bravery, the fortitude, and the noble acts of those who the preamble of our Constitution recognizes and describes as having suffered for justice and freedom in our land. The men and women we honor today have played an invaluable role in giving birth to the free South Africa that we enjoy today. Our nation owes them a great debt. By bestowing these national orders, we want to ensure that their contributions are recognized and spoken of by generations to come. The recipients of the national orders are chosen by South African people. It is the people of South Africa who make these nominations for consideration. This is most appropriate because the recipients are the heroes and heroines of the entire nation. The truest test of heroism is that these acts are not done for the sake of name, prestige, fame, or fortune. They are done out of conscience and an unwavering responsibility that many of them carry. They are born of a burning quest for social justice. They are anchored in the belief that the achievement of equality, of human dignity for all is the highest aspiration of humankind. The Order of Mendi for bravery is made to South Africans who have performed acts of great bravery at the risk of their own lives. All this year's recipients were anti-apartheid activists, and they are being awarded posthumously. They lived at a time when apartheid repression was at its worst, and they displayed the utmost courage. Their sacrifices will never be forgotten, and their memories will live on. The Order of Luthuli is awarded to South Africans who have contributed to the struggle for democracy, for human rights, for nation building, and for justice and for peace in our land. Several of the recipients of this year's Order of Luthuli were brutally killed by the apartheid regime. One of them is Ms. Nokuthula Simelane, who was abducted and tortured by the apartheid security branch. Her remains were never found. This is a scar that will never heal for her family like the scars of many other South Africans whose loved ones disappeared during the repressive years of apartheid. By honoring those fallen heroes with national orders, we are saying that no matter how great the passage of time, they have not been forgotten. The Order of Ikhamanga recognizes South Africans who have excelled in the arts, in culture, in literature, in music, journalism, and sport. In this, the 30th year since we achieved our freedom, we also celebrate the democratic gains we have made in enshrining the principle of a free and independent media. This is an important freedom which was restricted under apartheid. Our constitutional dispensation requires that we uphold this freedom. We shall continue to respect and uphold media freedom without fail. Among those being honored today are legendary journalists who were the voice, the words, the conscience of an oppressed people during the darkest periods in our history. The standard they set for media ethics and freedom are embodied in today's generation of journalists and media workers. The Order of Baobab recognizes South Africans who have made a difference in business, in the economy, in science, in medicine, and technological innovation, as well as doing so in our communities to advance their livelihoods. As we strive to bring about social and economic transformation in our country, we are keenly aware of the importance of every endeavor, be it in business, in science, or in innovation, being put in the service of social justice for all. The recipients of the Order of Mapungubwe displayed excellence in scientific endeavors for the benefit of South Africa and beyond. This year's recipient undertook valuable research in the aerospace field and set a standard that today's generation of researchers will strive to emulate for time to come. Lastly, the Order of the Companions of OR Tambo recognizes the great friends of the people of South Africa from beyond our shores, whose sense of moral duty to oppose apartheid saw them undertake acts of solidarity and cooperation in the cause of our liberation struggle. A number of them supported our struggle at great cost and sacrifice to themselves. Some were arrested in their own countries for the work they were doing in aid of our struggle. Some suffered in many other ways. And today we honor them and thank them. We honor the journalists who helped amplify the voice of liberation movement abroad, who also raised the profile of campaigners and fundraisers for the anti-apartheid movement, and activists who played an important role in the sports boycott against the apartheid regime. Congratulations to all who are being honored today and their families. So under the powers vested in me by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa of 1996, I now confer the Order of Mendi, the Order of Ikhamanga, the Order of the Baobab, the Order of Luthuli, and the Order of the Companions of OR Tambo. The recipients shall henceforth be honored as esteemed members of the orders. The people of South Africa salute them, and we thank them for the tasks that they undertook to build the South African nation. I thank you.
Van die Baobab, die Order van Luthuli en die Order van Mapungubwe en die Order van die metgeselle van OR Tambo. Die ontvangers word voortaan geëer as gesiene lede van die orders. Die mense van Suid-Afrika bring hulde in hulle almal.
Setswana, ka dithata tse di neilweng ke Molaotheo wa Repaboliki ya Aforika Borwa wa ngwaga wa 1996. Jaanong, ke neelana ka sekgele sa Mendi sa bopelokgale, sekgele sa Ikhamanga, sekgele sa Baobab, sekgele sa Luthuli, sekgele sa Mapungubwe le sekgele sa ditsala tsa ga OR Tambo. Ba amogedi go tloga fa ba tlotliwa jaaka ditokololo tse di tlotliwang tsa dikgele. Batho ba Aforika Borwa ba ba tlotlomatsa botlhe.
IsiNdebele ngaphasi kwamandla enginikelwe wona ngumthetho sisekelo weRepublic yeSouth Africa ngomnyaka we-1996 1996 kadesi nginikela ngonongorwane wobukutani weMendi, unongorwane weIkhamanga, unongorwane weBaobab, unongorwane weLuthuli, unongorwane weMapungubwe kunye nonongorwane wabalingani baka OR Tambo. Abamukeli kusukela kadesi baza kuhlonitshwa njengamalunga ahloniphekileko wabonongorwana bokuhlonitshwa. Isitshaba seSouth Africa sinithulela ingwani noke.
Xitsonga eka matimba lawa ndzi nga va xerisiwa wona hi vumbiwa bya Riphabliki ra Afrika-Dzonga wa lembe va 1990. Ndza nyika sweswi mfungho wa Mendi wa vunena, mfungho wa Ikhamanga, mfungho wa Baobab, mfungho wa Luthuli, mfungho wa Mapungubwe na mfungho wa xinghana wa OR Tambo. Kusukela sweswi vaamukeri va ta fundziwa tanihi swirho swo hlonipheka swa mimfungo. Vanhu va Afrika-Dzonga va va hluvulela swidloko hinkwavo. Sign language.
IsiXhosa ngamagunya endwanikweyo phantsi komgaqo-siseko weRiphabhlikhi yoMzantsi Afrika wamawaka 1996, 1996. Ngoku ndinikezela imbasa yeMendi yobukhalipha, imbasa yeIkhamanga, imbasa yeBaobab, imbasa kaLuthuli, imbasa yeMapungubwe kunye nembasa yamahlakani ka-OR Tambo. Abo baza kufumana ukusukela ngoku baya kunikwa imbeko njengamalungu abalelekileyo embasa. Abantu baseMzantsi Afrika babothulela umnqwazi bonke.
Sesotho
tlasa matla ao ke a fuweng ke molao wa motheo wa Rephaboliki ya Afrika Borwa wa selemo sa 1996, 1996, ha jwale ke o rwesa kgau ya Mendi bakeng sa ho bontsha sebete, kgau ya Ikhamanga, kgau ya Baobab, kgau ya Luthuli, kgau ya Mapungubwe le kgau ya dithaka tsa OR Tambo. Ho tloha ha jwale baamohedi ba tla hlomphuwa jwalo ka ditho tse hlomphehileng tsa dikgau tsena. Batho ba Afrika Borwa ba tla ba thoholetsa kaofela ha bona. Sepedi, ka matla ao ke a filweng ke molaotheo wa Rephaboliki ya Afrika Borwa ka ngwaga wa 1996. Jwale ke abela sefoka sa Mendi sa bogale, sefoka sa Ikhamanga, sefoka sa Baobab, sefoka sa Luthuli, sefoka sa Mapungubwe le sefoka sa bagwera ba OR Tambo. Baamogedi go tloga mo ba tla hlomphiwa bjalo ka maloko a hlomphegago a ditšhaba. Batho ba Afrika Borwa ba hlompha ka moka. Siswati, ngemandla lenginikete wona ngaphasi kwemthethosisekelo weRiphabhulikhi yaseNingizimu Afrika weminyaka yenkulungwane nemakhulu layimfica nemashumi layimfica nesithupha. Ngithanda ukuhlonipha ngemklomelo weMendi, webuchawe, umklomelo weBaobab, umklomelo weLuthuli, umklomelo weMapungubwe kanye nemklomelo bangani ba-OR Tambo. Labamukeli batawuhlonishwa njengemalunga lasemgcoka etimvomvo tesive. Bantfu baseNingizimu Afrika bayatfulela sigcoko bonke.
Chivenda ngama-anda endawo so one nga tshipiḓa tsha vhufumalo ina tsha Riphabuḽiki ya Afrika Tshipembe tsha ṅwaha wa gididata ya rathi 1996. Ndi ṋetshedza tshiola tsha Mendi tsha vhuhali, tshiola tsha Ikhamanga, tshiola tsha Muvhuyu, tshiola tsha Luthuli, tshiola tsha Mapungubwe na tshiola tsha Thama dza OR Tambo. Vhaṱanganedzi vha ḓo ṱhonifhiwa sa miraḓo ya dzi order. Vhathu vha Afrika Tshipembe vha vha bvulela muṅadzi.
isiZulu ngamandla engithweswe wona ngumthethosisekelo waseNingizimu Afrika wonyaka wenkulungwane namakhulu ayisishiyagalolunye namashumi ayisishiyagalolunye nesithupha. Ngithwesa manje izimiselo zonkomelo wobuqhawe weMendi, izimiselo zeKhamanga, izimiselo zeBaobab, izimiselo zikaLuthuli, izimiselo zeMapungubwe, izimiselo zabahlobo baka-OR Tambo. Laba abazothwesa le minyezane kusukela manje bazohlonishwa ngokuba ngamalungu aqavile ezindondo zesizwe. Abantu baseNingizimu Afrika banithulela isiqhoko.
Kwesa maje wole make wana tinqinta sika wa nkami xango tsisika ke tsisike wa xaqoqa ka veta wa South Africa wa Republic ya ka ke xoka ka nyegenten ses enienta ke tsisika ke manxiwa order ya wa Mendi ke Bravery ke Ikhamanga ke babu ka wa ke Luthuli ya ke xa ke miatis ke Mapungubwe ke katsika wa metisele ke Order of Tambo tsika ka qlinqa ka qala ke nqya ke South Africa tsixwa wa ingci eteminqoqweni.
Mr. President, Deputy President, honored guests, and fellow South Africans, we will now bestow the Order of Mendi.
The Order of Mendi for Bravery. The heroes of the Mendi Order gave their lives so that there may be peace in the world. In order for men and women of all colors and faiths, that they may regard one another as brothers and not aliens, as friends and not foes, and as partners and co-workers in God's scheme of things. This, I think, is the supreme message of the Mendi. In the words of Reverend S.D. Mukwe, this is the supreme message of the Mendi, that all men everywhere should regard one another in the very best of terms and realize that perhaps now more than ever, their destiny is one, that since in death they are one, so should they be in life too. We die together in war, but fight one another in peace times. Why can't we here and now live together in love, even as we die side by side in war? That is the supreme message of the Mendi. In the language of poet S.E.K. Mkawe, those who dared stood steadfast of Africa, braved the ship's burdens even when she sunk. The bravest of the brave they were, men who bring their blood greetings to the King of Kings. Death has its own reward to live again. Gladly I will stand with them. Newly risen men shine, one whose work is well done. In the great brightness of the day, so let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Order of Mendi in silver is hereby bestowed on Ms. Ma Williams Kekana. For her generosity and courageous act of sheltering freedom fighters during a time where it was illegal to align with revolutionaries. She offered her house as a safe haven for liberation stalwarts against the hostile security police. Mendi in silver is hereby bestowed on Ignatius Igi Mtebule posthumously, herein represented by Ms. Hlekane Rikotso. For his gallant fight against an unjust system of apartheid, he is among many lost sons and daughters whose demise in the hands of the security police remains unknown, as he disappeared without a trace. This was at the height of political upheaval, where opposition was brutally silenced. Despite his disappearance, he left an indelible mark of courage and leadership. The Order of Mendi in silver is hereby bestowed on Mr. Makwezi MacDonald Mtulu posthumously, represented by Mrs. Dinah Tobega Majibi. For his excellent contribution to the liberation of the people of South Africa, he responded to the brave call to join the military wing of the ANC, forsaking the safety of his home to the fight for freedom, and died in the process of executing the armed struggle. Oh, and that's first time. The sequence is not. Tag. The Order of Mendi in silver is hereby bestowed on Mr. Robert Anthony Basil Waterwich, posthumously, represented by Ms. Marge Nicholas. for courageously pushing back against the oppressive system of the apartheid government. He ultimately lost his life for the ideals of freedom in the middle of the war against racism and equality. The Order of Mendi in silver is hereby bestowed on Ms. Colleen Dennis Williams posthumously, represented by Mr. Kyle Bech. For courageously pushing back against the oppressive system of the apartheid government, she ultimately lost her life for the ideals of freedom in the middle of the war against racism and inequality.
Mr. President, Deputy President, honored guests, and fellow South Africans, I have a pleasure to invite you, Mr. President, to bestow the Order of Ikhamanga.
Budding with creativity like the rest, you bloomed with beauty like the best from land to land. Out of Africa's cradle of dust, you and your creativity glow. Your thawing tunes are loud as they bow from the distance across the streets where now you mew across the ocean and to confirm the motherland's appease. You heeded the call to run the tough mile. Crafted with your palm's majestic beauty, our wish is to make a fair, wounded heart, yet no sorrow was bound. To you, children of the heavens, and us mortal souls who create eternal beauty, we bestow the Order of Ikhamanga.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Order of Ikhamanga in gold is hereby bestowed on Ms. Nontando Noni Helen Jabavu, posthumously, represented here by Ms. Nompumelelo Jabavu. For her excellent contribution in the field of journalism and scholarship on the liberation struggle. Her affinity to history and storytelling through journalism informed and enlightened the nation. The Order of Ikhamanga in gold is hereby bestowed on Mr. Agri Cluster, posthumously, represented by Mr. Jerome Cluster. for his exceptional contribution to quality journalism and as a reporter exposing the cruelties of apartheid and encouraging unity among the people of different political persuasions to fight for liberation. He was a nation builder with a vision for an equal and thriving society. The Order of Ikhamanga in gold is hereby bestowed on Dr. Madala Muzwake Kunene. For his exceptional contribution to the arts, especially jazz music, using home-brewed sounds that are unique to South Africa. He has collaborated with some of the best talents in our country. Mr. President. The Order of Ikhamanga in silver is hereby bestowed on Mr. Angus Gibson. For his contribution to filmmaking. He strived to provide a safe haven for black artists at a time when discrimination was normalized and practiced with impunity. His collaborations produced iconic narratives of South African history and youth culture. The Order of Ikhamanga in silver is hereby bestowed on Mr. Emil Lester Janssen. For his contribution in the field of arts and hip-hop culture in South Africa. His artistry and activism formulated a unique lexicon, now family known as Africap, explaining the African origins of hip-hop. The Order of Ikhamanga in silver is hereby bestowed on Ms. Saray Nkusi Kumalo. For being an inspiring waymaker for many women through her quest of summiting 7 mountains while raising funds. She inspires every African child to pursue what may seem to be impossible dreams. The Order of Ikhamanga in silver is hereby bestowed on Ms. Sophie Msoziswa Mahlangu. For her excellent contribution to the development of indigenous Ndebele arts. Her commitment to passing on knowledge to younger generations is commendable. She has become a bridge connecting generations. The Order of Ikhamanga in silver is hereby bestowed on Ms. Matosini Latozi Mpahleni posthumously, represented by Ms. Tandi Ushula. For her exceptional service in preserving and elevating indigenous South African musical traditions. In a rapidly changing world, she stood as a guardian of these ancient sounds, ensuring that they were not forgotten. Her commitment to passing on her knowledge to younger generations was unmatched, safeguarding the nation's identity and cultural heritage. The Order of Ikhamanga in silver, hereby bestowed on Mr. Trevor Dundas Mueli Skota, posthumously, here represented by Ms. Zola Gule. For his contribution to the promotion of Black African knowledge by his trailblazing work, including a biographical dictionary of notable Black figures on the continent.
Kalingomo emasimini echakula amathole qibitheka wathi numama yakalingomo zambu ingomo emasimini echakula amathole qibitheka wathi numama yakalingomo sisa nomqaba sisanine mijakulo jubu kamakho stambe mame kalumdana kalunina kalizinja kalingomo wathi nomama bo yakalingomo sabu ingomo emasimini ejagula amathole qibitheka wathi nomama bo yakalingomo sisa nomkaba sisanine mijakulo
Mr. President, Deputy President, honored guests, and fellow South Africans, we will now invite you, Mr. President, as I do, to bestow the Order of Baobab.
The Order of the Baobab. We gather under the shade of the Baobab, listening to the wind gently whistling legends of the old. Through the branches, magical words appeared. It gives shelter to both animal and humans. The tree of friendship with its fairest fruit, and it protects us with its own skin. The Baobab sustains its life from the root to the tip, as the Baobab stretches out wide with its long experiential adversity and tolerance and service. We bestow the Order of the Baobab as a grateful gesture of peace, cooperation, active expression of solidarity, a gift for a safe place under a tree.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the Order of the Baobab. The Order of the Baobab in gold is hereby bestowed on Ms. Blanche Valeria Laguma, posthumously, represented by Mr. Eugene Valin Laguma. For her courageous fight for social justice and equality for all South Africans. She lived by the courage of her convictions and fought for the rights of workers and the liberation of the oppressed. The Order of the Baobab in gold is hereby bestowed on Ms. Zukiswa Patricia Matolengwe. For her commitment to realizing social justice for the homeless and downtrodden, using ingenious means of stockpiles for financial empowerment. Her tireless work in providing dignified living space for the homeless is laudable.
Mr. President, Deputy President, honored guests, and fellow South Africans, I now invite you, Mr. President, to bestow the Order of Luthuli.
The Order of Luthuli. This order is for outstanding contributions for the struggle of democracy, a nation building, human rights, justice, peace, resolution of conflict on the continent. Throughout its history, the liberation struggle always founded alliances that enhance its vision for unity and on racial South Africa. In that time, it cultivated for men and women of extraordinary courage, men and women that are selfless, to direct this vision. Amongst those was Nkosi Albert John Luthuli. A committed servant to his people, he made sure to pursue the path that displaced the notion that war is the answer to freedom. He said war is not the vehicle to achieve freedom. As Nkosi Luthuli, on his way to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, Togo Makanya said, "Home, hills, and even mountains, though you are silent, the words across the seas have been heard. Waves, I praise you, for you carry my voice across the oceans, from the shores of Africa to the Norway and America. Now consoled in the corners of the world, the Order of Luthuli."
The Order of Luthuli in gold is hereby bestowed on Mr. Mxolisi Diki Jacobs, posthumously, represented by Ms. Notawe Regina Jacobs. For his ultimate sacrifice to the struggle for liberation, his life ended defending the principles of a just and equal society. Although his life was cut short, he remains a towering stalwart of the struggle who laid down his life for the liberation of his people. The Order of Luthuli in gold, hereby bestowed on Mr. Peter Cyril Jones, posthumously, represented here by Ms. Ingrid Jones. For his courageous contribution in mobilizing communities across the length and breadth of South Africa. He was one of the leading lights advocating for Black consciousness message of self-reliance, pride, and self-affirmation for the oppressed people of our land. The Order of Luthuli in gold, hereby bestowed on Mr. Benjamin Langa, posthumously, represented by Dr. Peggy Lang. For his ultimate sacrifice for equality and social justice in South Africa. He endured unimaginable pain and remained loyal to the cause until the end. His legacy remains a beacon of light and inspiration to many. The Order of Luthuli in gold is hereby bestowed on Mr. Sipiwo Mtimkulu posthumously, represented here by Ms. Zugiswa Mngita. For his gallant fight against the oppression of our people, his fearlessness and leadership belied his age as he boldly confronted the forces of oppression and eventually gave his life for the democracy of South Africa. He lived by the courage of his convictions and faced the wrath of the oppressive regime. The Order of Luthuli in gold is hereby bestowed on Mr. Tobekile Topsi Mataga, posthumously, here represented by Mr. Ngawetu Mataga. For his gallant fight against the oppression of our people, he fearlessly spoke truth to power and eventually gave his life for the democracy of South Africa. He lived by the courage of his convictions and faced the wrath of the oppressive regime. Order of Luthuli in gold is hereby bestowed on Professor Harry Ranwezi Nengwekulu. For his gallant fight for the liberation of the people of South Africa, He has straddled academia and political activism with a goal of a free South Africa always in his mind, and has served as a source of inspiration for many Black consciousness activists and others. The Order of Luthuli in gold is hereby bestowed on Mr. Kenneth Hlako Rachidi posthumously, here represented by Mr. Mpho Rachidi. For his courage to face a repressive government and resist its unjust laws that promoted inequality. He lived by the ethics of Black consciousness and conscientized many. His activism and vocal opposition to oppression remains a legacy and an inspiration to South Africans. The Order of Luthuli in gold is hereby bestowed to Ms. Annie Silinga, posthumously, represented here today by Ms. Notemba Silinga. For her commitment to the liberation struggle, she played a leading role in some of the liberation campaigns. She continues to campaign against passes at national and local events. The Order of Luthuli in gold is hereby bestowed on Ms. Nokutula Simelane posthumously, here represented by Ms. Tembisile Pumelele Nkadime. For her incredible bravery in the face of brutal security operatives. She lived by the courage of her convictions and faced the wrath of the oppressive regime. Her ultimate sacrifice for the liberation of all South Africans will remain in the annals of our nation's history.
Mr. President, Deputy President, honored guests, and fellow South Africans, I will now invite you, Mr. President, to bestow the Order of Mapungubwe.
The Order of Mapungubwe. As the dawn rises over Africa, we cast our eyes over the horizon. We stand in awe and humanity as we salute a nation of pure intent. We bow and celebrate individuals whose achievements have uplifted and inspired us. We look towards the sunset, remembering our past. We look towards the sunrise, looking at the Order of Mapungubwe that is here to celebrate excellence and exceptional achievement across the globe. We say, we acknowledge and remember our ancestors sitting on top of the Mapungubwe hill, gazing and looking at the fields for harvest. They have learned to work with nature and not against it. They have looked into the eyes of the rhino. They have pointed their scepter in the right direction without doubt or hesitation. They dug from Mother Earth and created beauty. This is the Order of Mapungubwe.
Honored guests, the Order of Mapungubwe in silver is hereby bestowed on Professor Mulalo Doyoyo posthumously, here represented today by Mr. Albert Doyoyo. For his enormous contribution to the academia and research in the field of aerospace, his outstanding work continues to open doors. The sciences have been enhanced by his participation, and young aspirant scientists look up to him as a mentor.
Mr. President, Deputy President, honored guests, and fellow South Africans, I will now invite you, Mr. President, to bestow the Order of the Champions of OR Tambo.
The Order of the Companions of OR Tambo. As companions, we ponder in silence and wonderment, watching a friend and protector, the revolutionary thinker, a humanist, a mentor of the nation, a leader per excellence. In remembrance of OR Tambo, the Moses of our nation, who led us with his encouraging teachings and moral guidance into the promised land. We honor your spirit, Majola, in safeguarding the young and vulnerable of our society, preparing the vulnerable child for a successful and safeguarded adulthood. The president of the ANC for more than 30 years. With this in mind, the Order of the Companions of OR Tambo is bestowed upon individuals who have actively expressed solidarity, support, and encouragement towards the young and the growing members of our beautiful land. This is the Order of the Companions of OR Tambo.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Order of the Companions of OR Tambo in silver is hereby bestowed on Mr. Huub Bamens from the Netherlands. For his contribution to promoting awareness of human rights violations by the South African apartheid government to the world via Radio Freedom. His technical skills were used to build studios for the liberation movement. Order of the Companions of OR Tambo in silver is hereby bestowed on Ms. Donna Katzen from the United States. For her innovative thinking in assisting post-apartheid South African businesses get ethical investments by promoting networking between South African business and American investors. The Order of the Companions of OR Tambo in silver, Mr. Ken Lucas from Canada. For his selfless service for South Africa through anti-apartheid activism. He organized a mass disruptive protest against a visiting English cricket team that had links with apartheid sports. The Order of the Companions of OR Tambo in silver, hereby bestowed on Sir Nicholas Stedland from the United Kingdom, posthumously represented by Mr. Matthew Stedland. For his steadfast standing with the South African Liberation Movement at a time when it was not convenient to do so. He believed in equality and supported exiles as a friend of South Africa. Companions of OR Tambo in silver, hereby bestowed on Mr. Fulco van Aurich from Netherlands. For his contribution to promoting awareness of human rights violations by the South African apartheid government to the world via Radio Freedom. He organized and developed the campaign in the Netherlands to support Radio Freedom. The Order of the Companions of OR Tambo in silver, Ms. Brenda Wall from Canada. For her selfless service for South Africa through anti-apartheid activism, she organized a mass disruptive protest against a visiting English cricket team that had links with apartheid sports. The Order of the Companions of OR Tambo in silver is hereby bestowed on Mr. Thomas Oliver Newman, posthumously from New Zealand, herein represented by Mr. Rewi Gregory Monroe Noonan. For his relentless fight against the oppressive apartheid laws, he was particularly instrumental in shaming apartheid South Africa and stopping rugby tours between South Africa and New Zealand.
President, Deputy President, esteemed members of the national orders, ladies and gentlemen and honored guests, that concludes the ceremony. You are invited to join His Excellency the President for lunch in the marquee. The President, the Chancellor, the Deputy President, the recipients will depart first and be followed by the rest of other guests. Thank you very much. That concludes the ceremony.
Hela manyeu, hela ngwanesu, ki khale ki kokota munyako, dinto di taluka nini, ki uchika zisidiba, segilivela limasimu, homuri tesisa kemlantate, dumela uwa muratua.